So after the release of Edge of Time, we were hit with 2 more Spider-Man games by Beenox, those being the games based off of the Amazing movies. Don't let the name confuse you. Just like the movies, it's not accurate. These games fucking sucked, but we'll talk about that another time. With the release of Amazing 2, Beenox went completely out of business and hasn't been seen on the market since. With this being the case, it was up in the air as to who would be the next here we go, off to a great start. Who would be next in line to handle the reins of Spidey's video game career? We didn't have to wait very long, fortunately. 2016 rolled around, and just like how we found out who was next to play Spider-Man in live action, found out what the next Spider-Man game was going to be and who was making it, and surprisingly enough, it was Ratchet & Clank and Sunset Overdrive developer Insomniac Games. I was very confused by this decision. At the time, I barely knew shit about this company or the games they've worked on, so I had no idea what to expect. But the trailer alone, the actions he was doing, like the web swinging, some of the combat, running through this cafe and ruining these people's brunches, everything was looking kind of promising. Fast forward to September 2018, a few trailers and E3 showcases later, and Marvel Spider-Man is finally out. I didn't get to play right away because I was on Xbox. Cool though, as for Christmas that year, I was blessed to receive a PS4 and just loved the game. Well, it was Black Ops 4. I threw that shit away. Anyways, a few days ago, the game turned 5, which made me feel old, and it made me think about all the great memories I had with it over the years. Now this begs the question, after all this time, do I think this game is still as good as I thought it was when it first came out? The answer is yes, but you knew that already, so let's just get to the part where I tell you why. I hope you didn't think I forgot, because today's video was sponsored by your mom rubbing my feet while your sister does my chores for me, as your father buys me my favorite dessert as thanks for keeping his wife and daughter happy while he was off on a journey of self-discovery. So if you're cool with that, let's go. Marvel Spider-Man released on September 7, 2018 on the PS4 to unanimous praise. This game was regarded as the best Spider-Man game ever made, and that right there couldn't be more correct. This game gets the character of Spider-Man right in a way that no one else has in video game form. Hell, anyone writing this nigga, period. Matter of fact, let's start there. This game has my favorite iteration of the character that I've ever encountered, and it's not even close. The emotion, the quips, the heartfelt moments, everything about this nigga is done to perfection. This motherfucker is put through the ringer in this game, man. Bro woke up in the morning and just wanted to fight fists, but instead he gets evicted from his apartment. He has to fight a new group of niggas in the city who not only blow up City Hall, kill Miles' dad, and have magic powers, but is also led by Aunt May's boss, Mr. Lee, who loses his job. He gets told off by MJ's bitch ass. He witnesses his mentor turn into Doc Ock, which is a twist that not a single person saw coming. He has to fight the Sinister Six by himself. This dude just does not catch a break. But despite all of that, he's always pushing through and never giving up no matter what obstacle comes his way. That right there was your story synopsis. I love the story in this game so much, and I think it's the best Spider-Man story ever written, as opposed to the Spider-Man story that's not written in any fucking way. The character moments between Peter, his buddies, and his enemies are all interesting, whether it be him getting under Shocker's skin, there you go, dealing with the sexual tension between him and MJ, and him and Felicia, the heartfelt moments with Aunt May, the way he teaches Miles how to fight after he gets jumped in an alleyway, totally not motivated, his interactions with Yuri, the way the relationship between him and Doc Ock is handled, it's all beautifully crafted in my opinion. And that ending, that fucking ending, we'll talk about it later, because that shit had me like my boy Squidward over here. Speaking of obstacles, Peter fights a lot of motherfuckers in this game, and to put it lightly, he is fucking these niggas up. Let's start there. We have a lot of options to work with when it comes to the combat in this game. A basic punch combo, an arrow launch that can set up for aerial combos, jumping off of them and sending them flying, a web zip that can close the distance between you and an enemy, slamming them on the ground with your webs, and disarming them. That's just the beginning. You can also grab random objects in the area and throw them at enemies, and this is probably the funniest shit in this game, because when I say random, I mean that, because it's mailboxes, trash cans, car doors, trunks, cinder blocks, sewer covers, junction boxes, whole ass motorcycles, other niggas. You genuinely cannot tell me these niggas are not dead. If you time your dodges perfectly, you can set up, that's not what that says. That's just not what that says. If you time your dodges perfectly, you can perform a perfect dodge. Oh shit, really? Which has the chance of leaving an enemy disoriented for a couple of seconds. This allows you to set up combos easier or take the fucker out in one hit. Dear God help me. Spidey also has an array of gadgets he can use to help him in fight, and they all require his web, so I'm going to be saying the word web a lot in this next paragraph, but anyways, we have the regular web shooter, which can web up enemies to the floor or wall if they're close enough, or make it easier for them to throw. The impact web, which shoots out a web so strong that it can send niggas flying. You can do this on buildings, by the way. The concussive blast, which sends out a blast of wind so strong that it can send niggas flying. You can do this on buildings, by the way. The web bomb, which webs up enemies, and that's not what that says, which webs up multiple enemies once it explodes. The trip mine, which webs, that's not what that says, which That's not what that says, which webs an enemy to a wall, the floor, or another enemy when it walk. That's not what that says. When they walk past it. The spider drone sends out little niggas to help you fight by shooting them. The suspension matrix, which suspends niggas in the air to make quick work of them with air combos. And lastly, the electro web, which sends out an electric string that stuns an enemy in the immediate vicinity. Holy fucking shit, I'm gonna have a stroke. Sounds like a lot, right? Because it is. But all of this stuff isn't given to you from the start. Otherwise, motherfuckers would be sitting here like this nigga trying to learn how to do this shit. Most of these moves are from that's not what that says. Most of these moves are from a list of skills that you can unlock throughout the course of the story. It says game, but same difference, I guess. To turn our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man into just a straight up asshole. And those gadgets I mentioned like 15 seconds ago also are things that you have to unlock through activity token. Perfect segue. So, as every open world game is supposed to have, the industry was in the contract, there's a shit ton of activities to do around New York. Doing these will give you tokens that can be used to unlock different suits, suit mod, and different gadgets as well as upgrade them. Because I hate myself, I'm going to name them all so that you can have an idea of what's going on here. We have backpacks, landmarks, hidden landmarks, Taskmaster challenges, Ubisoft towers, Black Hat stakeouts, disc construction sites, demon hideouts, prisoner camps, sable bases, random crimes, hairy resource stations, and my personal favorite, pigeons. Lied right through my teeth just now. I hate these shits. If you think that's a lot, it's because it fucking is. They wanted to make sure you always had something to do, so they just keep giving these shits out. That doesn't include the side quests that you have to do too, like tracking down Tombstone, having a cosplayer not getting blicked in the dome piece by a bunch of Wilson Fisk people in the Mafia. That's not what the line was in the script, but I don't really give a shit. Moral of the story, there's a lot to keep you busy. They ain't all bangers now. Some of these research stations can eat a dick, and the hell am I chasing pigeons for? But at least I can say shit like the pigeons kind of helps show the type of person Spider-Man is. Bro will always do what he can to help people around the city, even the smallest tasks. Not me though, fuck you and those dumbass pigeons. I mentioned them earlier, but in typical Spider-Man game fashion, we also have an almost perfect selection of alternate suits to choose from. Shit like the 2099 and Noir suits. What if this is not Go away. The MCU suits, the Raimi suit, as well as the Wrong Amazing suit, Future Foundation, Comic Iron Spider, both Scarlet Spiders, Bombastic Bagman, among others. Spider-Man's main suit in this game is the new one, the Advanced suit. For a long time, it was my favorite Spidey suit, period. The new one from Spider-Man 2 has since dethroned it, but we'll be talking about that in due time. The suit selection in this game is fantastic. Again, they're not all bangers. I didn't really need Spirit Spider, and Fear itself's name is right, because it's scary how ugly it is in IMO, but, like, 98% of the suits in this game are genuinely great, and I hope we get most of these. That's not what that says. I hope most of these get carried over into Spider-Man 2. With almost every suit unlock comes a suit power. These are extra abilities that Spidey has at his disposal. Shit like quad damage, the iron arms, electric punch, web blossom, low gravity. This shit is useless, by the way. Being really annoying and constantly equipping. This is really funny to me, by the way. Equalizer, battle focus, among others. With battle focus being the most useful in my opinion, as it fills up your focus bar. The focus bar normally fills up by performing perfect dodges and doing damage. It allows you to do two things. You can either use it to heal yourself, or, my favorite thing, use it to do finishers. Once the bar fills up, that lovely square plus triangle icon shows up on top of an enemy, and when you see that, just know that nigga's life is in danger. To put it lightly, he is fucking these niggas up. Once again, you cannot tell me these niggas are not dead. Look at him, he's literally snapping his neck. The finishers are a guaranteed takedown on an enemy, and like I said earlier, it's fucking hilarious to watch because some of the shit he's doing is 100% unnecessary, and I love him because of that. The last thing I want to bring attention to before we talk about the most important thing is the stealth mechanics, and I wish there was more to them. Don't get me wrong, what we got isn't awful, it's still good, but we need a bit more in the sequel to, that's not what that says. We need a bit more in the sequel because all it really amounts to is waiting until the goons are said to take down and then taking them out. It's entertaining to watch these though, like this one where he outright just bangs this nigga's head on the support that he's on, which totally isn't gonna cause any brain damage. I just want there to be a bit more to it than this. There you go. But we'll see what happens. The combat is genuinely one of the best combat experiences I've had in the game. The amount of options you have access to and the way that you can really style on these niggas is crazy. Combat in Spidey games usually is a hit or miss. It can either be Web of Shadows good, Amazing Spider-Man bad, and this game has definitely set the bar even higher, and it only gets better with Miles, and I can tell 2 is gonna take shit even further than that. I know some people still think that games like Web of Shadow has better combat, and that's cool and all. He ragged on niggas like this Web of Shadows? I don't think so. Now that we got all that out the way, it's time for the big one, the web swinging. If the combat is the bread, this shit is the butter. 100% was the best web swinging in any Spider-Man game at the time. It was dethroned by Miles, but we still... Oh my god, what we had here is still fantastic. That's what the fucking line says. I swear to god I can read. There is so many, come on. There's so much to work with. Wall running, air tricks, web zipping, point launching. There's just so many options to keep the flow of the web swinging going. Oh boy, even something as simple as the animations for when you shoot the web line and you jump off of it makes shit more stylish. Now, is it perfect? No, unfortunately. There are some things that I kind of wish we did have, like an animation where he drags his hand on the ground when you get close to it like he does in the cutscene when you get the advanced suit for the first time, or things like slingshotting, I know that's a word but it is now, amazing too, only time I ever caught in that game, or climbing up your webs like an ultimate. It was the first attempt at the web swinging, and they basically got it almost perfect on try one. That's pretty damn impressive. This game most definitely has one of the most fun gameplay experiences I've ever experienced in my life. Everything from the regular combat, the stealth sections, to the web swinging is just amazing in my eyes, and I'm so glad that all these aspects are continuing to be improved upon with every release in this franchise. I'm gonna start going insane in like 2.5 if I continue to be fucking stupid while trying to read. You know what wasn't amazing though? The MJ and Miles stealth missions. Fuck these things. They all suck besides Miles one with Rhino. That one was actually pretty cool. But besides that, no. They did good not bringing them back in Miles. Let's hope they keep that momentum with 2. Son of a bitch. Now remember that ending that I talked about earlier? Well, after watching his friend and mentor lose his marbles, cause a citywide epidemic, and release 5 of his most dangerous villains out on the streets of New York, he not only had to fight them all to get the anti-serum, but he also found out that he knew Peter was Spider-Man for however long he knew, which made our boy even more pissed off. And even after all the damage he caused and the tragedy he was about to cause indirectly, Peter still didn't kill this nigga, showing us once again what it means to be Spider-Man. Remember that tragedy that I mentioned like 10 to 15 seconds ago? Yeah, it was nothing big. It was only the fucking death of Aunt May. My fucking jaw dropped when I saw this, bro. Like, the fact that they had the guts to move like this on their first game is insane to me. But it worked. Like I said before, smoking that Squidward pack. This scene left me in shambles for weeks after I finished the game. To this day, even replaying it for this video, this shit still gets me. And it hits even harder after what the fuck they did in No Way Home. This is a perfect setup for Spider-Man 2 because yes, while it's been a few years in the universe since the events of the first game, Aunt May, just like Uncle Ben, was one of Peter's main confidants, if not the main one. Losing her is something he's not going to be able to get over that easily, and I hope they explore this, especially with the involvement of the symbiote. At the end of the day, what more can really be said? Marvel Spider-Man is a fantastic game and one that I'm glad that I got to experience. That's not what that says. At the time this released, finally getting a Spider-Man game that wasn't fucking dog water or Rush just seemed like a fever dream, yet here we are. Why? I was doing so good, and here you go on your nonsense. Getting a Spider-Man game that wasn't fucking dog water or Rush just seemed like a fever dream, yet here we are, getting a game that wasn't dog water or Rush. Pterodactyl. This was a great start to this new universe for Spider-Man and his friends, and this momentum was definitely carried into Spider-Man Miles Morales. Moral of the story: play Marvel Spider-Man is literally almost perfect Spider-Man experience, and any fan of the character would be doing themselves a disservice by not playing it. Speaking of Miles, that lovely game was the final one in this marathon. Now, I know I didn't look at games such as the Raimi movie tie-in games or the Amazing ones. That's because I'm saving those for a different video in the very far future, as far back as I could possibly manage. Perfectly fine with ending on Miles. Now, I said Miles would be the last game, but it isn't going to be the next video, as I cannot seem to escape him no matter what I do. Sonic is to come back into the radar as Update 3 is dropping next month. Not what that says, at the end of the month, so I'm going to take a quick detour to talk about all the Frontiers updates next video, and then we'll get into Miles. And knowing how my motivation operates, Spider-Man 2 will fuck around and be out by the time Miles comes out. But we'll see what happens. With all that being said, I'll see you folks in a month from now, or hope to God this is a joke. And until then, remember to tell your mom that she needs to get more milk because your father sure as hell ain't gonna do it.